What's happening, everybody? It's your buddy Griz, and welcome back for another Battlefield 4 weapon review on Guns with Griz. I am your host, Griz, and it's so nice to see you again after another week of sunny weather and vacation time for me. Yes, I was a bit busy again last week enjoying the wonderful weather and enjoying some vacation time from work, but it is also certainly nice to actually get the chance to make a video for you guys again. So here we go. This week on Guns with Griz, we are looking at the beloved MP7 as suggested by Alucard18, I hope I pronounced that right, who was actually the first one to comment on the video from last week, and when I saw it I got all excited because I've never done the MP7 before, so I decided his suggestion would be the one that I would do. Please leave me another comment on this video, guys, letting me know which weapon you'd like to see next week. Do it now so you don't forget. Alright. So let's get right into it here. Let's take a look at the MP7 stats from Simthic.com. The MP7 does its maximum damage of 20 inside 15 meters before damage begins to drop off, ending at 47.5 meters where it will do its minimum damage of 12.5. The MP7 fires at a rate of 950 rounds per minute, has a magazine size of 40 plus 1 in the chamber for 41 total, and its reload times are 2.65 seconds when empty and 2.4 seconds with a round still in the chamber. The MP7's bullet velocity is a nice 420 meters per second, and the recoil is pretty minimal, so I would put it in the low area. So the MP7 is often seen as the rival of the P90, and for good reason. They both are low damage, high rate of fire bullet hoses and are excellent for close range combat. The MP7 certainly fits this mold, and it is a beast in close quarters, as you can well imagine. But the one thing I think really stands out, and one thing that I really like about the MP7 the best, is its reload times. I wanted to mention the reload times right off the bat here because there are only a few weapons in Battlefield 4 that have reload times that are so close together that there's basically no difference at all between the short and long reload animations. I find this to be a very desirable trait for a weapon, particularly one that excels in close quarters combat. The reason for this is that if you are faced with multiple enemies at one time in a room or something, you don't have to worry about trying to hit that short reload every time and minimize the time you're taken out of the fight. And therefore, you can go right ahead and dump that mag if you have to. I just find it's a nice luxury to not have to worry about avoiding a terribly long empty reload animation, and it certainly helps with your pace at which you attack and retreat for reloads, if that makes any sense at all. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes you forget that the weapon that you're using has a vast difference between a short and long reload animation, and when you forget that in the heat of battle and start rounding a corner again before your character has actually pulled the lever back on the weapon or something like that, it can cause some problems, not gonna lie. With the MP7, however, it's really the last thing you have to worry about because the reload times are so close together. And basically, to bring it all back to the comparison with the P90 as well, in this category, the MP7 is the clear winner, as the P90 is known to have longer than average reload times, and there's also a long difference between its two different reload animation times. So we've already established that the MP7 is best suited for close quarters combat, but just to reinforce that a little bit, I wanted to quickly mention the MP7's amazing hipfire accuracy. Throughout my playtime with the MP7 here, I had to keep reminding myself that I didn't need to pull up the iron sights every time, especially when the guy is like, let's say, less than 20 feet away, 15 or 20 feet. The MP7 has no problem landing shots from the hip from surprising distances. I'm talking like halfway across the D building on Zavad, let's say. Shots like that are no problem from the hip with the MP7, so don't be afraid to just throw some shots at people from the hip who are a little farther away than, like, say, you'd normally feel comfortable with. I'd say that for the entire time that I used the MP7, I pretty much use it from the hip, like half of the time that I played with it, and it worked out very well for me. The third and fourth things that I love about the MP7 is, number one, the 40 round magazine. It does fall a little bit short of the P90's 50 round mag, but still, 40 rounds is nothing to scoff at, and it's certainly higher than the norm, so I would consider it a plus. But the fourth thing is kind of like the best statistic that the MP7 has going for it, and that is the 950 round per minute rate of fire. Beats the P90 once again by 50 rounds per minute. The MP7 is an absolute shredder, which definitely makes up for its low damage output, and further helps its capabilities in close quarters situations. Alright, so now that we've praised the MP7 a little bit, it's time to shift gears and talk about some of its shortcomings. The obvious thing being its low damage output, like I just mentioned. Let's talk about how that feels, or how it translates into what the user experience is. Well, with a lower damage output, it definitely makes time to kill go up slightly, if not a lot. So even though the MP7 does have that high rate of fire, I still noticed time to kill went up a little bit. In the best case scenario, where you land every single shot on an enemy, then yeah, the MP7 will kill pretty quickly. But if you're gonna miss a couple shots here and there, probably due to your target being on the move, like I'd say 98% of engagements are, you're gonna find yourself saying, wow, that guy took a lot of shots to go down. At least that's what I experienced. The second bad thing about the MP7 is that it's really not great at medium range, and it's pretty worthless at long range. So it is very much a situational weapon, and choosing to use it is going to depend on the map you're playing, what game mode, even what kind of role you're going to be playing in the actual game. Allow me to elaborate a little bit. Let's say you're playing on Metro. The MP7 is going to be a pretty solid choice just based on the map you're playing. Metro is essentially all close quarters, so you can have almost no fear that you'll be able to compete with everybody playing pretty much anywhere on the map. But let's say you're playing Zavad Conquest. Yes, there are areas of this map that are pretty tight, like the C and the D flags and in between underneath there, but there's also vast open fields, and if you get caught out there with just your MP7, pretty much anybody is going to be able to pick you off pretty quickly with almost any other type of weapon. But let's say you decide to tank all game, or maybe you're going to fly the little bird. Well, the MP7 might not be a bad choice because you'll only need your weapon when you actually get out to repair. So if anyone runs up on you, chances are they'll be pretty close, so you'll be able to compete no problem. I guess my point is, choose the MP7 at times when you know, at least for the most part, you won't have to face a lot of medium and long range encounters, because it's really not great at them and you'll definitely find yourself at a disadvantage. The last thing I want to touch on before we put this guy on the scale here is attachments. This PDW is not very good outside close range as mentioned, so for the optic choice, I'd say stick to a close range, probably your best bet. I don't think you'll find the medium range scopes to be much use on this weapon, but hey, go ahead if you try them if you like. It's a free country. But I do find there are a few options for you on the barrel and the accessory slots. First off, on the barrel, suppressor is always an option and works splendidly. I also really like the heavy barrel for some added accuracy. The recoil on the MP7 is pretty low and highly controllable, so the heavy barrel is definitely a good option on this weapon. The other thing to note is that there is no option for a grip. The MP7 comes with its own vertical grip, and you cannot change or remove it. But lastly, we've got that accessory slot. Now personally, I pretty much always run the laser because I really enjoyed the MP7 from the hip as much as possible, but I also find the tactical light or the flashlight would be good to blind enemies in Operation Locker or Metro. But that's enough deliberating. The jury has reached a verdict. It's time to find out where the MP7 falls on the scale of badassery. Today I will be giving the MP7 a 6.5 out of a possible 10 Peter Petrellis, just because I'm excited for Heroes Reborn. But seriously though, the MP7 is a bit limiting when it comes to your effectiveness in different situations. It's not the best PDW by far either, even though I do love its hipfire capabilities, one of the best if you ask me. I just found it either went really well for me when I was using it, or really badly, as sometimes you just don't get the breaks in a game, and 80% of your engagements happen at medium range, which is definitely bad news bears if you're using the MP7. So for those reasons, it loses a significant amount of points there on the scale of badassery. I just want you guys to keep in your mind that it's pretty much only useful in close quarters. But in close quarters, it's one of the best in the biz. But that's gonna do it for me here on Guns with Griz, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. You have no idea how much I enjoy the support I get on this series. You guys are awesome. Don't ever forget it. Also, don't ever forget to leave me a comment with which weapon you want to see next week. If you haven't done it already, do it now! And as always, if anyone here is new to the channel, I would absolutely love it if you would consider becoming my buddy and hitting that subscribe button. Love to have you, friend. My name is Grizno, this was Guns with Griz, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.